You're good.
Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to our Audit and Finance Committee meeting for February 25th. Thank you very much. It has been a beautiful day, I must say. And so right now I am going to take attendance, and I'm going to ask our majority counsel, Ms. Kennedy, to take attendance for me.
Yes, ma'am. Willingham,
Here.
Peter,
Here.
Bergdorf,
Here.
Clay,
Here.
Grimm, Joyce is excused, Lakakis. I see her. Mayo,
Here, congratulations. Congratulations, Rebecca.
thank you. O'Brien,
Here, and also congratulations, Rebecca.
thank
Yeah,
you.
let it-
7 present, Madam Chairwoman.
Very good, thank you. I'm happy to see the chairman here. Good evening, Chairman Joyce.
Good evening, Ms. Willingham.
All right, I'm also happy to see our minority leader here. Good evening, Mr. Moriello.
Good evening to everyone. I just had to take myself.
Very good, very good. All right, we have a full house here. And we are going to get started. And so we will start with, I'm going to start with me putting up my screen and my file here. Thank you very much. We're going to start by approving the previous meeting minutes.
Motion, Madam Chair?
I got a
Second.
motion from Mr. Peter.
Second,
Do I have a second?
O'Brien,
I
second.
can't. Oh, I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We will now move on to number 8. And Ms. Whalen?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you. Tonight, we are here to request permission to amend the 2021 Health Department budget. In November 2025, per diem COVID-19 case investigators were hired to work weekends, evenings, and holidays. So we're requesting $140,000 to be transferred to our per diem line in order to allow these employees to continue to work 35 hours a week, and they are still needed until June 2021. Also, there's a public health technician line in our budget, which is currently short $341 for 2021 due to a contractual step increase. So we're requesting that line be increased as well.
All right. Thank you. Do I have any? No questions? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion. Second.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Ms.
very
Whalen.
much.
And thank you for the wonderful job that you are doing for the county. All right. We will now go back to number 2, our previous business. Ms. Kennedy?
Madam Chairwoman, this item is tabled at the request of the sponsor.
All right, thank you very much. We will now go on to number 3.
Madam Chairwoman, this item is on hold for seeker, and accordingly, we will need a vote to table it.
Madam Chair?
Okay, yes,
I would like to
I
make
have
a
a-
motion to table that.
I'd like to second
okay.
it.
I got a motion to table from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We will now move on to number 4. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 4 is a public hearing on proposed local law number B for 2021, a local law of the County of Albany providing for reduction of the redemption period to 1 year for residential property located within a local municipality which has been determined by it pursuant to New York State Real Property Tax Law, Section 1111A, Sub 2B, to be vacant and abandoned.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Peter,
As the sponsor on this, along with my colleague Carolyn McLaughlin, this is a bill that has come out of our Blight to Betterment task force that is also was also being worked on with the county executive's office, and I want to thank Michael McLaughlin for that. This is again for the public comment period. This bill would allow us to basically shorten the period from 4 years to a total of 2 years for vacant and abandoned property as certified by a local municipality, and would help us get vacant and abandoned buildings through the foreclosure process and back on the tax rolls quicker. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
are there
Matt,
any comments?
quick question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Bergdorf.
Do we anticipate that at the end of 2 years, most of these properties will end up going to the land bank?
That's probably right. The reason I say that is these are ones that are already are going into the foreclosure process, are vacant and abandoned. So they probably would fit the criteria to go to the land bank.
Unless they meet the criteria, one of the other criteria in the disposition plan.
That's correct, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your explanation.
Sure thing.
Very good. Are there any other comments? If there are no comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
I got a motion for Mr. O'Brien.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to number 5. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 5 is a public hearing on proposed local law number E for 2021.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Peter?
as I'm also the prime sponsor for this, I'm happy to just give a short explanation as we did in the law committee last night, if that's okay with you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
The governor in late January signed a bill that would allow local municipalities to allow for the delay in establishing interest payments by increasing the amount of time that the tax warrant was eligible without such interest rates being applied to them. As such, the city of Albany has passed a local law to opt into that. They've seen a large increase in rental properties, owner occupied, etc., that have gradually been unable to pay first time. And as we did not want to get people into a deeper foreclosure crisis, the idea is to hold off on the interest payments on that for 120 days. Other localities can also enter into this if they so wish by, again, doing a local law and coming into it. This is not monies that are coming from the general fund. It's just a delay in the interest collection. The city of Albany has determined that they have the cash flow to allow for this type of process, to allow a slower collection of it. I would also say that they think the largest amount that this could cost is $80,000 to $100,000 in potential interest lost. That is, however, a larger amount than is assumed will happen, since that number includes people who weren't going to pay anyway, will still get interest paid at a later point, etc. And again, this is potentially stopping a larger process, like all mortgage and financial relief, from causing foreclosure problems where the county would be reimbursing the city anyway, for the loss, and potentially stopping normally individuals who, through no fault of their own, cannot pay for their mortgage and their property taxes because of lack of collecting rent. Madam Chair, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm sorry. Mr. Bergdorf, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. I have no problems with this proposal going out to the floor for public hearing, but I'd like to point out that specifically, it appears that the only municipality that can meet these criteria and timeframes is the city of Albany. I asked last night whether or not any of the big suburban towns, Colony, Gilderland, Bethlehem, could take advantage of this program. and was sort of told that because they have March 31st warrants, it would almost be impossible for them to do so. So what we essentially have here is a local law which is going to cost Albany County between $80,000 to $100,000 to specifically grant a benefit to the city of Albany of $80,000 to $100,000. And I would really appreciate it if you would take a look to see if there are any amendments that you could make before you publish this, which would make this benefit available to the people of large towns. I'm sure the people in the town of Colony that don't have the money to pay their taxes would appreciate a 90-day grace period as well. But for whatever reason, this seems to be only applicable to the city of Albany. So I know Rebecca is a former council in the town of Colony. I wish someone would reach out to the large towns, to all the towns and municipalities, and see if there is something we can do that really makes this a countywide benefit. But I have absolutely no problem for it going to the floor for a public hearing. But I wish you would consider trying to make this a countywide benefit. I know Mr. Riley said last night, well, be careful now, folks. Our $80,000 to $100,000 estimate was only based on the city of Albany, and it could be substantially more if it were expanded. But a benefit such as this should really be available to every taxpayer that can't make their payments now. So with that, I would say I'm going to support the motion, but I would really like it to be amended to anticipate a countywide application.
Thank you, Mr. Bergdorf. Mr. Peter.
Just to respond to that briefly, and I won't belabor the point, but it does require local buy-in. A local government does have to pass a law and a resolution, and as written is open, and I certainly would support this regardless of the cost in expanding it to the towns your point, Paul, which I think is perfectly valid. I just don't like, I would just make the point that the local government has to do a certain thing too. The city of Albany did that thing as required by the state law. So while I completely respect everything you're saying, and I would support it on any town or municipality, because what's good for, for taxpayers here should be good for taxpayers there. But it does require action by the local government, which we can't require, but we will do everything I think we can to help out if we can. And if there is something we can do, we'll try to do it. But
I would appreciate that. And I would hope that there would be some affirmative outreach to all the towns and cities, because I know even some of the representatives of the cities, the other cities within the county were concerned of the lack of applicability.
Thank you. Mr. O'Brien.
Yeah, I agree with Paul on trying to reach out to everyone, but more importantly, is there a cap on the amount of money that's going to cost the county? You said between 80 and 100,000.
Yep.
Is it capped at 100,000, or what happens if it goes up to 125?
Well, it's based on the current amount of people who are delinquent at this stage. And then it's based on the generic interest rate that is charged by the county. And so that was where it was the current total amount of delinquencies for the city of Albany by the X percentage for the 2021. So that's why it's a ceiling, but it should go down from that ceiling, if that makes sense. Because so for example, many of those people were going to pay anyway, or they are what we would call continuous delinquents. They are ones that have been not paying for multiple years, are included in that amount, if that makes sense.
Well, are you open to putting a cap on it? And then if we need to come back to the Audit and Finance Committee and request additional money?
I don't think that's how the state law is done. It's a blanket thing. You can't like cap it because you don't know who's not going to come in and pay. But the financial consideration did come up from the total possible delinquencies as of right now, which is, because most people, a large segment of the population has already paid. So there's only a small amount of people who have not paid. And that's where we got the actual, again, that 100,000 would be the ceiling. But we can't certify that, but based on.
We can't cap it.
Right. But I understand the concern.
Madam
Joe?
Chairwoman, sorry, I can't raise my hand because I'm the host. I'd be showing my
Yes,
hand
so
to
I'll
myself.
recognize you to the public. This is Council to the Chair, Patrick Collins.
Thank you. Sorry, I can't raise my hand in Zoom. I just want to touch on something. Mr. O'Brien, it's not an expense to the county. It would not be, it's not costing us money. It's a loss of potential revenue. There wouldn't be a cap in that sense. Mr. Bergdorf, you previously said that it's a benefit to the city of Albany. It's the city of Albany is not benefiting from this. The taxpayers in the city of Albany are feeling this benefit, and it's relief related to the recession caused by the pandemic.
Absolutely, Pat. But my point is that there are taxpayers in the town of Colony and the taxpayers the towns of Bethlehem and Gilderland and the cities of Cohoes and Waterville that are feeling the same pain. And it appears that we have a structure here that only benefits the taxpayers of the city of Albany. And while it may not be a loss, there's $4.3 million budgeted for revenue, penalty revenue. It's a loss of revenue, which in essence is a loss to the Albany County taxpayers who are not benefiting from municipalities that are not benefiting from the benefit. So I understand your perspective, but I would like to find a way to make this available to everybody in the county.
It is available to the extent that the county can make it available to everyone. It is.
Well, to the extent that perhaps you can change some of the dates and so give municipalities more time. I don't begin to know how to draft this so that the town of Colony, if they wanted to opt into this in the next month, could do so. I think it's incumbent upon us to protect all the taxpayers in the county, not just the ones in the city of Albany.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Riley now, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to reiterate, like I did last night, the 80 to 100, as Mr. Peters said, is only looking at delinquent taxpayers in the city of Albany because they're the ones that reached out and came to us with, the statistics on what was still uncollected on their tax warrant. We were able to back into the number. To know it from all the other municipalities, we would have to reach out to every tax collecting municipality in the county. To Mr. Bergdorf's point, not to get too far into this, but the way that this is phrased by the state, the governor signed this on January 30th. It says up to 120 days from the initial day that the tax bills were due, being January 31st. So without precluding state legislation, I don't see how we could change the days. That said, if one of the towns wanted to opt in for 60 days or 30 days or 90 days, they would still be within their warrant. And then they're well aware of this. They all know what was passed.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. All right. If there are, thank you very much. All right. I guess if there are no other comments, I'd like to have a motion.
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. O'Brien.
I'll second.
A second.
I got a second from Mr. Pappas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Let us now move on to number 6.
Item 6 is local law number B for 2021, and this will be tabled by the sponsor pending the public hearing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Number 7.
Number 7 is local law number E for 2021, and this will likewise be tabled by the sponsor pending the public hearing.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, we'll now move on to number 8. And let's see, who's speaking on number 8?
Oh, Ms. Whalen spoke on it earlier, Madam Chairwoman.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still going in order. Excuse me. We'll go on to number 9 now. Dr. Giordano. Ms. Kennedy.
Number 9 is amending the 2021 Department of Mental Health budget for a clinical director position.
Is Mr. Giordano? There he is. Is he with us?
It's
You're on
muted.
mute, Dr. Giordano.
I'm sorry. I was wishing you well and saying hello, and you couldn't hear me. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I am here to request to amend the 2021 budget. We'd like to create a clinical director position in charge of emergency and crisis services, and we'd like to do that using existing personnel lines. In the last year, just as a bit of a backdrop, our mobile crisis and emergency services have expanded quite a bit. We have developed an emergency disaster mental health team. We have received increasing requests by local law enforcement to do training, and we hope to launch the Accord program within the next few weeks to months. And what we're proposing here with the clinical director position is to have someone who is coordinating all of our crisis and emergency services because of the expansion.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Bergdorf.
Dr. Giordano, what sort of qualifications does a clinical director have to have? Because I'm taking a look at the salary of it, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of person do you anticipate getting?
Sure. Well, we have a clinical director right now who is in charge of our clinic operations, and that is a licensed master level social worker. And we anticipate the same level of professional qualifications for this position.
Thank you very much. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate the response.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bergdorf. If there are no other questions,
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. Clay.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Peter. I got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much, Mr. Giordano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Be well.
Great, thank you. Number 10, Ms. Kennedy?
Item 10 is authorizing an agreement with the New York State Department of Health regarding the Advanced Training Initiative Program.
And our speaker?
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. This is Larry Slattery from Shaker Place. The New York State Department of Health has a program for recruitment and retention every year, as long as it's approved by the health department. They look at the data of every nursing home in the state of New York to determine who qualifies under their formula. Shaker Place this year does qualify, as we have in past years, for the Advanced Training Initiative. This will be determined by our Medicaid days and a different formula that the health department uses. And we're guesstimating right now that the revenue to the nursing home from this money that needs to be spent for further recruitment and retention of the staff at Shaker Place will be approximately $180,557 that we would receive.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Slatsky. Are there any other questions or comments?
Make a motion.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. O'Brien.
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much, Mr. Slatsky. It's good to see you in good health.
All right, same to everyone. Have a good evening now.
You
Good
too.
evening, Larry.
Bye-bye now.
Right. Kennedy, number 11.
Item 11 is authorizing agreements regarding aerial imagery upgrades and amending the 2021 Economic Development, Conservation and Planning budget.
Yes. Laura?
Good evening. Every 3 years, the state contracts to collect new ortho imagery for the county, and they offer us a 1-foot resolution. They give us the opportunity to upgrade that to a 1/2-foot resolution, which is beneficial in urban areas for assessors, for planning, for law enforcement, among other things. This request is to authorize a contract for up to $41,000 for the imagery upgrade in the urban areas. $10,000 is already in the department's 2021 budget. The towns of Bethlehem and Albany have expressed an interest in contributing to the upgrade for their geographic area in the amount of up to $15,650. And the remainder of the money, if needed, would come from the sheriff's office. So we're looking for the contract with the state as well as an intermunicipal agreement to share the cost with Bethlehem and Albany.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Bergdorf?
Laura,
Yes.
are they doing this on a countywide basis?
They are flying the whole county, yes.
So was this option given to every municipality? And it's just the
Yes.
city of Albany and Bethlehem that have opted in?
Correct. And then with the county's contribution, we'll be able to cover the additional urban areas.
Okay, so for whatever reason, the town of Colony decided not to opt in.
Right, whether they didn't think it was financially feasible or whatever the reason. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Bergdorf. If there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter.
I'll second.
I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Dave O'Connor. We are off on to number 12.
Item
Ms.
12,
Kennedy.
item 12 is amending the 2021 Albany County budget for administrative adjustments.
Madam Chairwoman, if I may, this is it's our annual cleanup that we do every year. Inadvertently, a few step increases are missed. I think there was one insurance buyout. It's budget neutral in terms of both on the county level and departmentally. So basically, if they were short a couple $100 in one line, we made them find it in another line. Smaller than most years.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. No questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. O'Brien.
Second.
I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We will now go on to number 13.
Item 13 is authorizing correction of the tax roll for the town of Bethlehem.
Good evening, everybody. Madam Chair, thank you for having me. Mike McGuire, Director of Real Property Tax Services. I have a few corrections. This first one is for the town of Bethlehem. It's the correction of a clerical error on an agricultural assessment penalty for a property that had a conversion of use. The penalty was incorrectly calculated to be $24,161.88. The correct amount should be $11,750.60, and I just need your authorization to issue the correction.
Thank you very much. All right, so are there any questions? If there are no questions, we'll I'll entertain a motion on 13. I got a motion on from Mr. Peter.
A second.
I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Number 14.
Number 4. Oh, sorry.
Item 14 is authorizing correction of the tax rolls for the town of Gilderland.
Thank you. Again, so this is a correction of error. The Village of Altamont unfortunately did not enter the statutory interest required that was to be on the relevy of village taxes. This is a correction to add that statutory interest for the village tax bills that were sent out in January.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Was that you, Ms. Lakakis?
It was.
Okay, I got it. Okay, good. I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, so numbers 13, 14, 15.
Item 15 is authorizing correction of the tax rolls for the city of Albany.
This correction was put forward by the by National Grid. There was an error on the tax bill. The bill was issued for an unequalized amount in the amount of $3,080,787.69. The correct amount should be $2,877,455.69. So I need authorization to issue a corrected tax bill for the National Grid property within the city of Albany.
Thank you. There are no questions. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. O'Brien. Second?
Sure.
Second from, good. I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Number 16.
Item 16 is authorizing correction of the tax rolls for the town of Colony.
Let's see here. So this was a correction of a clerical error. The tax bill was sent out in the wrong amount. The wrong amount was $29,190.41 based on information provided to me by the assessor of Colony. The correct amount of the bill should be $14,910.71.
No questions. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. O'Brien. I got a second from Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. The next one, Ms. Kennedy.
Item 17 is authorizing correction of the tax rolls for the town of Westerlo for 338 Hunt Road.
So 338 Hunt Road, again, we had a change in essential fact. There was a property that was demolished before the before the taxable status date. The assessment was incorrectly including the value of that structure. So an erroneous tax bill was issued. I just need authorization to approve the correction to reflect the correct relevy amount for the school tax of $472.39.
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. Clay.
Second.
I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 18 is authorizing correction of the tax rolls for the town of Westerlo for Crop Road.
Similar to the last one, we had an error in essential fact of property that was demolished before the taxable status date. And this is to correct the erroneous tax bill and reflect the correct amount of tax due of $267.50.
Can I get a motion?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Passes, second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 19 is amending Resolution 45 for 2019 as amended regarding the countywide resiliency grant program.
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. This is simply a no-cost contract extension for the county's contract with New York State DOS for the countywide resiliency plan. We are looking forward to get started on this. As many of you, were participating Tuesday night. We have approved, or in the process of approving, the contract for the consultant for this project, and the work plan calls for a 16 to 17 month project period, and we want to make sure the contract with the state reflects that, and that the consultant has the appropriate time to assist the county in in completing this plan.
No questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
Got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 20 is authorizing the release of right of reverter of title to 144 Livingston Avenue in the city of Albany.
Madam Chairwoman, when 144 Livingston Avenue was transferred to the Housing Authority, there was a right of reverter attached to it that would hold until the investment in the property exceeded the back taxes originally owed on the property. That has been satisfied, so they've requested to remove or to release the right of reverter.
Dave, Madam Chair.
Mr. Bergdorf?
Dave, has the penalties been paid as well?
I am looking that up right now. It says for the full delinquent tax lien, so I would read that as yes.
Okay, could you just verify that for us and let us know?
I will do that. I will shoot an email to both conferences tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Clay, a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 21 is rescinding the authorization to convey real property pursuant to resolution number 171 for 2018 and authorizing the conveyance of 291 3rd Street in the city of Albany.
Who's speaking on that?
I can speak to that, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Riley.
So this is being transferred to the abutting owner. He's been maintaining it for 2 years. He looks to make it into an educational center and an urban garden for the neighborhood.
Are there any questions? If there are no questions, I entertain a motion.
Motion.
Got a motion from Mr. Clay.
I'll second.
I got a second from Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Any garden?
Aye.
Garden.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 22 is authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 172 Main Street in the town of Queens.
Madam Chairwoman, this property was withdrawn from our foreclosure process due to environmental concerns. It was listed in an online auction. The sole bidder was who we are awarding it to. He included a detailed plan of rehabilitation, approximately $100,000 worth of work he estimates is going to go into it between materials and labor. He also has a letter of support from the village mayor accompanying his application.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Got a motion from Mr. Peter.
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy?
Item 23 is authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 813 19th Street in the city of Watervliet.
Madam Chairwoman, this was another withdrawn parcel due to concerns on the land. So it was went through our online sealed bid process. This was again another sole bidder. We're getting $26,000 for this one.
Okay. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Peter?
If there are no questions, I'd like to make a motion, Madam Chair.
Motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Lakakis, I'm sorry, Ms. Kennedy?
Item 24 is authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 434 Broadway in the town of Colony.
Just make sure I have the correct one here, Madam Chairwoman. 434 Broadway. Yep. So this was another withdrawn parcel, and again, a sole bidder. This bid was for $161,000. In my notes here, I have that this had multiple underground storage tanks that will have to be remediated. That's addressed in his plan. He plans for this to become multi-unit housing, most likely for seniors.
Thank you. If there are no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, Madam Chair.
I got a motion from Mr. Peter. I got a second from Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy,
There are no further items, Madam Chairwoman.
very good. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and
Motion.
wish everyone a nice, happy evening.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. O'Brien. I got a second from Mr. Clay. Thank you very much from everyone, and I hope you have a